Well, that's definitely not how I wanted to start this video off. Well, like I said, definitely not the video I was planning on making today, but now we've got to figure out why this thing won't start. It's just cranking. I'm thinking I hear the fuel pump kick on when I turn the key, so maybe it's not an issue with that. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper, see if I can find the fuel pump relay and see if that's turning on and off. And just kind of take it one step at a time, I guess. So we've got our scanner hooked up here. Codes found 2. All right, P0021 camshaft position, timing over advanced or system performance bank 2. Could that be the issue? So the other code that's popping up is this U1000 code. It just says manufacturer control. So I did a bit of digging, and that U1000 manufacturer code, whatever it is, oftentimes the culprit is a bad ground. Now I kind of already got ahead of this one and started looking at the obvious one, like the ground for the battery. And that one actually wasn't as good as it could be. Let me kind of show you what I'm looking at in here. So the ground for the battery comes off the battery, bolts into there. It's kind of hard to see, but there's two 10 mil bolts back there. So one of those bolts was loose, and then it just wasn't flat, like the ground wasn't flat on the sheet metal of the car, so I don't think it was that solid of a ground. So I actually pulled it out, I sanded some of the paint off, I sanded down the actual ground itself just to make sure it was as clean as it could be. I tightened it down, and it seems like a much better ground. There is one other big ground on the chassis harness on this car. Let me show you where it's at. So it's this one down in there, right there, that kind of like brass looking thing. Let me see if I can get it to focus. There we go. You can see it's missing a bolt. That is due to the little issue on the frame. This is where the car got hit. So because of that, it kind of messed that up. So I'm gonna see if I can, one, clean this whole area up and get this ground just to be much better overall. All right, you can see where I sanded down the paint there. I also cleaned up the ground strap itself just with some sandpaper, so it should be good. But as you can see, so one of the holes down there is threaded. The other one is totally blown out and destroyed. So I'm just gonna put a riv nut in that one, and then we should have two nice threaded holes and a real solid ground. All right, got the ground for the battery fixed and the ground for that main engine harness fixed. Let's turn the key on and plug that scanner in and see if we still have codes. One code, better than last time. So we still have the U1000 code, which I was hoping to fix with the grounds. But the crank sensor code went away, or cam sensor. Now I'm just kind of confused. I thought the cam sensor may have needed to be cleaned or something. I guess it's kind of common that like oil buildup and debris will get caught in there and cause some issues. But now that code's gone and the other code that I was trying to fix is still there. I'm super confused. Let's see if this thing will start. Well, I think it's fixed. Don't ask me how or why. But the code for the cam angle sensor is gone. That weird manufacturer code U1000 is still there, even though I fixed the grounds and stuff. So who knows what that is, but it doesn't seem to be affecting anything. I pulled the car out, let it get up to temp, drove it around the block. It seemed perfectly fine. Turned it off and turned it right back on, and it runs perfectly. So again, who knows, but at least it works. All right, well, with the car seeming to run just fine, we can move on to what I actually wanted this video to be about in the first place, which is some last minute things you gotta do or check on your car before a track day. So let's get into a few of them. If it's your first track day, something you have to consider is most track days, whether it's grip, drift, or whatever, have some sort of safety tech that you have to pass before they'll let you on track. Some of them are super basic, some don't have them at all, and others are really thorough. So definitely look into the event you're doing and see if they have like a tech sheet or maybe some like bullet points on things you need to check. I know for sure the one I'm doing is pretty laid back, but one thing they do want is the positive battery terminal covered. Now, if we look at the car, mine is not covered. So from the factory, this thing has a big plastic cover that goes over the whole thing. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to source one of the factory ones. And from Nissan, they're outrageously priced. So I'm just gonna tape it up with electrical tape. Kind of ghetto, but it should pass tech. All right, all taped up. It looks terrible if I'm being honest, but it should be okay. All right, with that terminal all covered up so beautifully, I'm gonna move on to doing a quick bolt check. So I'm just gonna go through the car, starting at the front, working my way back, and just making sure everything's tight, buttoned up, and is the way it should be. I'm gonna pay extra attention to all the stuff I worked on, so a lot of the suspension stuff, things like that. Just make sure I didn't leave anything loose or forget about it. Obviously, I've driven the car like around the neighborhood and stuff, so I know nothing's catastrophically loose or going to fail right away, but still there could be some stuff that I didn't tighten all the way, and I'd rather go through it now and make sure it's all good than find out at the track. Right, so all the front suspension is tight, everything is good, but before I wrap up the work on the front end, I want to throw the factory bumper support or bumper beam, whatever you want to call it, on. Unfortunately, I don't have an actual bumper for this car, so it's not going to look great, but I figured at least the factory beam will cover the front of the car, so if I do get into a little wreck or something like that, at least it'll protect the radiator and some of the other stuff from getting totally ruined. All right, that went on nice and simple. Now I can say at least I have a little bit of protection in the front end, so I won't end up with someone's wheels straight through my radiator. With the front all wrapped up, I can turn my attention to the back, get that checked off the list. You gotta be kidding me. All right, so this is the cam position sensor. I just decided to yank it out of the car and take it apart and clean it. So I guess what happens is these little like mesh net in there get kind of clogged up. I already cleaned it. Visibly, it didn't really look dirty, so I don't know if that was the issue, but maybe there was some stuff in there I couldn't see. Also the little holes in here where the oil passed through. Again, they seemed fine, but who knows? I cleaned them all up. Everything looks fine now, so I'm going to toss it back in the car and see if that will get this thing started. Well, it looks like I won't get away with just cleaning the sensor. Maybe I need to replace it. I do have a spare sensor, but it was off an old motor, so it's not like it was new. But the ones on this motor actually look new, so I'm wondering if maybe they're aftermarket and they're just not good quality. Maybe if I put the old OEM ones on, it will work a bit better. I don't know. At this point, I'm not really sure what to do, but I guess it's worth trying. Well, that was with the sensors swapped over to the spare ones I had, and nothing changed. So as of right now, I'm out of time. I'm out of guesses as to what this could be, and I'm just gonna have to tackle this tomorrow after work, or maybe Saturday, the day before the track event. Kind of stressing out here because the track event is in 4 days from today, and I work 2 of those days, so it's gonna be fun. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. If you have any ideas as to what this could be, drop a comment down below, because I'm, like I said, out of guesses here. But anyways, kind of a bad place to end the video, but that is going to be the end. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.